Woo.
Nico, how
What's
are
up, y'all?
you?
I am wonderful. My bad about this. And give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
All right. Now hold on. Now, what that shirt say? God is what?
Dope.
God is dope. Shout out to the God is dope brand. They have been everywhere.
Yes.
Nico, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. I was a little sad that yesterday, all I had was the Shy to watch. I couldn't watch PValley. Like, what's up with this?
Did you get caught up? Did you rewatch everything?
Oh, I am super caught up. Actually, I know everything.
That's
So,
what's up.
how does it feel to be a part of this amazing show? Like, before you answer that, I will say that this show is one of the top 5 shows that have helped me personally to get through this pandemic and quarantine and all
That's
that good
what's
stuff.
up. That's what's up.
Yes,
In
yes.
what way?
Well, it's entertaining. It's
Hmm.
very entertaining. It's a lot of different dynamics to the show. All of the characters, bring their own different. You already know, especially Uncle Clifford. He bring that pizzazz. He got that, that business sense. I got another question. I got a question for you later. I'm gonna ask you about you and this whole Loretta Devine thing. Yeah, I got
Okay.
a question about that.
Hey, let's
But
talk. Let's chop it up.
absolutely. So, how did the role of Uncle Clifford come about for you?
Like, how did I specifically? How did I get it?
Yes.
I auditioned like everybody else
Mhm.
for this iteration, but prior to the show being a television show, the creator Katori Hall, when she first started this process, it was called Pussy Valley, and it was a play, and it was
Okay.
a play. And so when it was a play, it kind of started off when we were. She had 4 pages of the script, and we did. I read 4 pages of the script because I was introduced to her through another writer friend of
Okay.
hers and mine, a mutual writer friend. Because it wasn't even about a production; it literally was about a group of Black creatives that were getting together in like a salon style type of environment to workshop and to just bounce ideas off of one another. And so I first read Uncle Clifford then. It was a 4 page, it was 4 pages of the play that she had, and it was 2 scenes. And Uncle Clifford was in one of those scenes. And then it just developed over time, different iterations of the piece. And then from there, when we did a full production of it in 2015, at the Mixed Blood Theater in Minneapolis, where all the unrest is happening in Minneapolis these days. So it broke ground there, and there was some talk about networks being interested in the story, and we found a home over at Stars. And when she found a home at Stars, it just was about what was the opportunity. I knew that they would most likely, the networks were going to be going for a big name or something of that sort. And I just did my thing. They're going to look for somebody. And I was like, here she go, right here. You know what I mean? So like I have put in the work over the time and over the years of just kind of cultivating the character. And it was really interesting because, a lot of times in the Black community, people don't talk about a lot of things, and if a person is somewhere on the LGBTQIA spectrum, they just was sweet.
Yeah.
Got
Or like that. That's what they
yeah,
used to call
yeah,
them.
granddaddy used
Yeah.
to say a little wish-washy. A little wish-washy, you know what I'm saying? You got a little sugar. My godmother's father, Pop Pop. My Pop Pop. I love my Pop Pop. He sent me a message from on my birthday in my stories or whatever.
Okay.
But he always just be like, "Hey, Nico, hey, yeah, Nico, how you doing there, Nico? Now, look, now you a little sweet there now, ain't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, Pop Pop, yeah, Pop Pop." And he was like, "Yeah, I thought so. Well, you keep on going now. You taking care of your mama." Literally, he just would ask, just out of, "I think that's what's going on. Is that what's going on, you sweet?"
So look, for something like that, because I know a lot of people who have, come out to their families in, the Black community. They have not been met with a lot of, acceptance and things like that. So for somebody like that to, embrace you still, despite what, they may feel was a difference, how did something like that feel for you?
The first word, honestly, that comes to my mind is familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It felt familiar. I have always lived my life in a way where people, I wasn't necessarily defined by others' realities.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be a combination of things, whether it was being an artist or whether it was having other things in my life as a young Black boy that I was combating and with or coming into acceptance with. I had more issues as a child, as a young child, dealing with colorism, dealing with having to be a certain size. I was too big as a child. Well, people, they would call you big boy. They wouldn't call you Nicco. They hey big boy, hey dog boy. You know what I mean? So it was those kinds of things, and probably honestly, my grandfather used to call me. My grandfather used to say he had a little mail chute on the door. That so it wasn't a mailbox; it would be a mail chute. And I remember being like around 10 and 11, and he would say. He would call me Darky. I'm even thinking about this. I mean, he would call me Darky. And it was something that at first I would be like, Mom, why is Granddaddy calling me Darky? Like, that's me. And she was like, that's how he shows love. That's how he shows love, because he called her that. His mother was dark skinned. He was about your complexion. My grandfather was about your complexion on my mom's side. So there was all of this inherited toughness that was kind of passed down over time, if that makes sense. So when I got to like high school and people were talking about sexuality and things of that nature, it affected me. I heard it, but it was something that didn't define me. I won homecoming king when I was in high school. But I also battled like members of the football team that was like, yo, it's gonna be, I'm being 100 and I'm gonna just speak. You edit what you
appreciate
edit.
That.
Okay. Where one time I remember coming from English class and I was going up the stairs to math or whatever, and there were these football players that were also running for homecoming king. It was like, yo, it's gonna be some shit if that F word wins. And I was like, okay, bet. So I didn't actually go up to my math class. I turned around and I went back down to the security booth, and I told my security that, like, the head security person that was like cool, and I was like, Miss Tyner, I'm just letting you know that Arnett said this and Kid said this, and I'm telling you, I ain't no punk. I'm telling you it's gonna go down. So I don't want to get suspended. I don't want to get kicked out for nothing that's crazy. Blah 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 blah. Long story short, homecoming comes. I win, but I actually got escorted out of homecoming because it was too much. Yeah, because the crowd was going crazy. I'm in Detroit, you know what I'm saying? So you hear you.
All right, Midwest. Shout out to Midwest.
Yeah. So you hearing like all this rumbling going on in the middle of homecoming, and I had this moment. I was like, oh my God, this is what Whitney felt like in The Bodyguard. Because they were like, Nicco, we were going to have to ask you to leave. And I was like, ask me to leave? What are you talking about? We're trying to take the pictures, like with the court. It was the homecoming king, the homecoming queen, and then, and I was like, the two dudes that was like teasing me and like really coming down and caused all this ruckus, they get to stay, but I had to leave. That was their answer. That was their answer at that time. Hey, I won. I was vindicated. It was all clear. And I was like, bro, you ain't even came in second place. You wasn't even running up. Damn.
And then a running.
Yeah, but that's okay. That was okay. Those are things, those adversities that I went through when I was younger. Those were the things that kind of shaped me. Those were things that got me ready for to that, they just built up a thicker skin, in short.
So being, so that is amazing. But being from a city like Detroit, like what kind of values, aside from what you just told us, do you feel was instilled in you, Nicco, as the man that stands before us today?
Being from Detroit, what did it teach me? It taught me how to fight.
Oh, y'all be getting it in like that in Detroit.
Yeah, it taught me how to fight, not just with these hands, but like with my art. You know what I'm saying? It taught me how to fight with my art. It taught me how to fight with my mind. It taught me how, like, if this is a truth that you're walking in, and it wasn't, I'm not even talking about identity. It was more so about you're going to be an artist. Because in Detroit, everybody was supposed to be in the automotive industry. You know, my dad worked with, he was a president of a tubular tech company that worked with Ford. He was a working man. He built himself literally up from working on the foreman of the plant, you know, and worked his way up. He was like, Nicco, you're good with numbers. You love math. Computers is the way. That's the wave of the future. I grew up working in a car wash, you know what I'm saying, on 7 Mile and Van Dyke. So, like, when you see me at the car wash, or when you see Uncle Clifford at the car wash in PValley, that's a whole, it was like, yo, this is my element. This old school, because I used to have that wire brush, you know, they get the white walls, like let's tap, you know, and then getting in the vacuum and stuff like that. So it was, I say fight. It taught me how to fight because you couldn't walk down the streets necessarily with a certain openness. Like, I could not have been an Uncle Clifford, been so open and brave as she is when I was 16 and 17. But there were people who were, you know, and also like my teasing and that rearing and building up a skin, be clear, that did not come from just straight men. That did not come from just women. I had a group, there was a group of gay brothers. There was 3 of them that when I was a freshman, because I was tall and I was big, like they thought that I was older. There was a time that they chased me. They chased the brother and it was like, you better give me your number. Nick, we're playing. Give me your number. And I was like, no, I don't want it. You can't. I have to go to rehearsal. I don't know. So there was always, I mean, listen, I'm a very real person, so I'm giving it to you real. It was a difference. There was always something, you know, you had to fight. We one day coming from school, we had to fight the pimp. We had to fight the pimp because there was a woman, she was a sex worker, and she was sitting across the street from the bus stop from us, and she was a big girl, and she was sitting there, and it was hot. So she was sitting on that porch, and the legs was open, her girl was getting a little air, right? So she's sitting there. Box had to get some air. And so, like, some of the kids around the bus stop, like, they was teasing her or whatever, and like, here I go, I'm coming from school, coming from rehearsal, I stopped at the corner store, got some pizza. This sounds like a story from The Chi, right? Like
The Chi meets Detroit.
Right, exactly. So I'm standing at the bus stop, not sucking on a lollipop, I'm eating a slice of pizza. So I'm eating a slice of pizza or whatever, and they talking about it or whatever, and I was like, I must have said something like, yeah, or chimed in. She took that as the opportunity. She was like, you talking smack? I see you over there, big boy. I see you. I'm going to get you. My pimp going to get y'all. Oh. We was like, oh, whatever. Laughing like, you know, the adult lady, you know, now she's going to get a pimp. But lo and behold, not even 5 minutes later, bruh man was coming down the road with his red suit, that hat, and a little limp, talking about something. Yo, blood, you hear me? And he had his hand on the side like he had his piece. And we was like, oh shit. Like, we gotta go. This is real. It could go down. Like, you know, we know that we are not invincible from bullets. And literally we walked all the way downtown and we waiting for the bus to come, like trying to catch the next bus stop, like to catch the bus to go away. We wound up running into my grandmother's old department store. She was working at Mary Ann's downtown, which was across the street. Yeah, from Hudson's, J.L. Hudson's. in downtown Detroit at that time. And we hid in Marianne's. All four of us hid in Marianne's. This really does sound like an episode of The Chi. I have to call Lena Waithe. And
I was about to say, you should start grab your pen and paper after this and start writing this down.
Oh, listen, it's already done. So those who don't know, there is an actual short film that I did called Brown Sugar that is about the whole Homecoming King story and all of that. People think that this is like, like the flash in a bucket, like you just came out of nowhere. I have been doing this for a very, very, very long time, even to the point where people weren't casting me because at the time maybe Broadway or Hollywood did not have room for roles for people like me, for people like Uncle Clifford, and for that representation as Black male bodies to be represented on the spectrum of the LGBT community. And now there is room. Now people are ready for those truths and for us to expand just our conversation, Black people, we are not just a monolith. We are many, many, many different things. So
yes.
It's already in the works.
Now, having a role like an Uncle Clifford, do you feel any pressure to prove anything to anybody? Because you just said there were not a lot of roles for characters like Uncle Clifford in the past. Mm-hmm. Do you feel any pressure to, prove anything?
No. No. One of the reasons I feel that probably is because of that upbringing, that having that fight instilled in me. It's not, I don't think about proof. I think about allowing people in. When people ask me, like, what is the difference between the play version of PValley and the TV show, my answer is intimacy. And I say intimacy because I don't have, when I play Uncle Clifford on stage, it's the same trap music. So you like, it's a party, it's a party, it's a party. Like that's going, you're seeing live dancers in the theater spinning and flying around the poles. They're doing monologues while they're on the pole. They're mic'd and it's amazing. And you're like, what's happening? What's happening? Like there would be times where folks would be, if there was a fight that broke out in the play, they would be going crazy in the theater because there would be folks up in there that really thought that they was in the club or forgot that they were in a play. Mm-hmm. So you had to vocally and emotionally cut through the space with all of that and still, as the artist, maintain the control of the room. And with Uncle Clifford at the time, like being the MC and the madam of it all, there's a lot that just you had to kind of navigate that you don't have to do on a TV show because the camera is here and the camera allows for the intimacy between what's really going on inside of Uncle Clifford for you guys to feel that. And then you also get to go outside of the club. So it's a more intimate experience. You get to go home with Uncle Clifford. You get to meet her grandmother, grandmother, you know what I'm saying?
Now look, I'm glad you said that. Now, Loretta Devine can't be no more than 65 years old.
Okay.
Uncle Clifford, can't be no more than about, Grandma can't be no more than probably about 65. Uncle Clifford, what is he like, 30, 32, 33, something like that? How did Loretta Devine jump from mama and everything to grandma?
That is so funny. I love that you say that. Are you Black?
Absolutely. Oh,
okay, so there you go. There you go.
Mama for 20 years.
There you go. I had to let you know that because you remember it don't crack. Okay?
It doesn't.
Bless your heart. This is not 32. Do you know what I'm saying? So
I would ask, but I don't want to be rude.
Now, no, you have to be. Why you got to be rude? Well, don't be rude. That ain't rude. Listen, if I done survived all these years, I'm good. No, the Uncle Clifford is actually 38.
38. Okay.
Yeah, Uncle Clifford is 38.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's the generational gap that does happen between Uncle Clifford's mom and then you're meeting her grandmother.
Grandma.
Yeah.
I love that episode. There was some things she said in there. I'm like, whoa, okay, grandma. And then I love the part at the end with Lil Murder, kind of, made sure grandma was good, gave grandma love, smoke. And I saw Uncle Clifford over there looking, smiling like, Little Murder is a keeper.
Yeah.
So,
I think that was such a special moment because you asked the question even earlier of like, you know, what were the things that you had to fight through and acceptance and all of those things. And there are people that have that journey. There are people that have a more tumultuous journey, and that journey is to be respected as well. That is it is real. It is a very real thing, just like the things that Uncle Clifford is saying about, especially being in the South. You know, where are people like Little Murder and Uncle Clifford? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? You know, Little Murder could go many different places in the South and not be clocked. But Uncle Clifford is living in her truth. You know, this is not a game. This is not drag. This is not for show. This is literally how this person chooses to express herself. You know, even by going by the female pronouns, the she and her pronouns. For a lot of people, I always think, this is how Nicco kind of categorizes it. I think that Black people have not always been afforded the luxury of identity because so much has been taken and ripped apart from the very, very, very beginning. So for me, my grandfather, Nicco's grandfather, and my godmother's father were not
Pop-Pop.
thinking, Pop-Pop was not thinking about, okay, well, you're gay. It was like, all right, great. But before you get to this gay thing, okay, you sweet, that's cool. But you a man, ain't you? Ain't you? You don't have to, you're going to stand up, you're going to have to do a couple of things. You're going to have to, you know, there were other things that they were trying to instill in me as a child. My grandmother literally saw me playing in the garden, in the backyard with my grandfather. And she told my mom, my grandmother told me this story. This is how because I never had like a coming out, Nicco, I never had a coming out moment or anything like that. To be like, oh, are you gay? She literally, I was on the phone I was actually talking to my boyfriend at the time, you know. But I mean, I was just talking regular stuff. We was like, yo, she did what? Like, oh, yo, the party's about to be lit. Like, it was regular conversation. It wasn't nothing. And she literally called me to the front room because I was over there. You know, you have to go and you dust your grandmama's house and under the table, and you have to dust the chandelier and the china cabinet.
With
all
that lemon pledge.
Where you from?
Cleveland, right next door. I'm like 3 hours away. I already know.
You got it.
Yes.
So anyway, long story short, she called me to the front room, and she was sitting down and she was eating some hot water cornbread. Oh. And she was like, sit down. And so I sat down, and she was like, it's one thing about it, but is you gay? And I just fell out laughing because I was like, how you just come out your face randomly and just ask somebody, is you gay? And I was like, and she just took me by surprise. I was 18 at the time, and I was laughing, and then I was like, yes, Grandma. And she said, well, it's one thing about it. I always knew you was gay. And she said, your Uncle Bill, he was gay. Her brother was gay. And she said, I always have loved you, and I'm going to love you regardless. And just don't go on that Geraldo. Geraldo Rivera, the talk show.
I know Geraldo.
Yes.
I didn't know Geraldo was.
No. Because remember back in the day, Geraldo was more. There was a time on his show that he was more scandalous, kind of like Jerry Springer.
Jerry, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so it was always just. This was the time that they had the gay person come on the TV and the sensationalism of it. So basically, she was saying to me, "You are more than just your sexuality." That's what she was having that conversation with me. So Nicco did not walk around the world saying, I'm gay, but I'm gay. You know, it was just like, bruh, I'm a black man. I'm a child of God. I'm my mama's child. There were so many things that came before sexuality. You know what I mean? Because it was like, you know, you got to make it out on these streets. So that was a part of my experience. And in that, I felt a necessity to be able to share that sometimes there is not a trauma associated with identity. Sometimes there is not. Sometimes you are just who you are because you know that's how God created you. So Well, I got folks teasing me because I'm too dark. I got folks teasing me because my lips too big. I got folks teasing me because I'm a gap. I got a gap. Folks tease me because my daddy from Ghana. Folks teasing me. I had all these other things going on, and I wasn't having no sex. So it wasn't about. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my world wasn't about who I was sleeping with. It was more so like, okay, who I got to throw hands with. You tease me, and I danced too because I danced. And on top of my acting, it was like, yo, that big boy up there dance with them girls and da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, but you want to hang out with me because you want to get to know Sharonda, don't you?
Exactly.
You want to get to know Sharonda. Sharonda, don't talk to his ass. He's a punk. You know what I mean? You know, so.
You know what? I don't know if it's just
Thank
me.
you, Oracle.
And to everybody listening out here, Nicco, you giving me real Nicco Angelou right now. You know, you are. I'm
Shut up,
telling you,
Nicco
like,
Angelou.
I'm seeing the similarities between you and Uncle Clifford. You know, Uncle Clifford is in the paint, you know, giving the girls, you know, lessons and inspiration and stuff like that. And the things that you're sharing with us, like, wow.
Oh, is it too much? It's too much?
No, it is. I'm telling you, it's hitting me. Hold up, my heart right here. It's hitting me right there in my heart. So, what other similarities are there between you and Uncle Clifford?
I think the most similar that, or we are most similar in the love, in the care and compassion. I have a very. I used to teach. You know, I used to teach high school, and I think also from choreographing and directing. You know, like choreographing a whole like ballet with 40 dancers. There's a sense of organization that you get in your head, and how you can see this piece and this piece, all the different components of it. So as a choreographer and as a director, there's a sense of what is the story that we're telling, how do we keep this and maintain this. So I feel like those attributes kind of bleed over into Uncle Clifford's world, because Uncle Clifford is very much so like a mother hen, you know, and making sure that everybody's good. Like, you're going to do it right, but making sure that everybody is together. And so that's a way that we are most similar. And also being a dancer, because Uncle Clifford is a dancer as well. That's how, because the Pank used to be a shake joint.
Yes.
It
Oh,
used to
my
be a
grandma,
shake
they got it like that back then. That's why Uncle Clifford owed that $55,000, however many dollars.
Yeah.
About to be auctioned off in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, well, my grandmother, she took out all these loans. So she had the payday loans, and anybody who has done a payday loan, you know, that could be like hell to get out of. So she did the payday loan after payday loan, and then the refinance loan that she had. And so she had all of this debt that she had acquired herself. And then because of her diabetes, that's what she's saying, and that's how she's blind and losing her sight over the years, her grandson had to come in and take over, you know. And so there was Uncle Clifford. And then, well, I can't do no no juke joint. Let's turn it to a shake joint. You know what I mean? And you'll get to see, even in the design of the club, prior to it being a juke joint, it was a cotton mill. Her grandfather, it was a cotton mill. That's why, like, the windows are so high. It has an industrial feel to it as well. So this was a place. There was a time actually going to and we were shooting. I was like, it's $55,000. I mean, that's a lot of money, but why do I feel so much pressure? Like, I feel like as Uncle Clifford, there was so much weight on me that I felt like, to get this right, to be responsible for so many people's lives, their work. But it went beyond just the people in the club. It went back into the blood that was in the soil, that I knew that was in the building. This was something that was passed down from my great-great-grandfather, from it being a cotton mill to being a speakeasy or you know, a nightclub, you know, juke joint, to now. That's why in Uncle Clifford's office, you see the jukebox. You see all of the records around. You will always see in the art design on the show, there's little homage. There's pieces of homage to the past, because Uncle Clifford holds on to the past for reasons that you will discover in season 2.
How many episodes do we have in this season?
I need you to not ask that question with a little bit of attitude in your voice, because your neck went back and your shoulder, that's not my fault. That's not.
You know, I was already in my feelings because we didn't get one yesterday. But, you know, I need something to look forward to as our good shows are, you know, season finales are coming up.
Well, with that, I will say it is important for us, Black people, to show up. It is important that we show up, and not only do that, but show out, and meaning make sure that these networks know how much we love and support our stories being told, and especially being told at an elevated echelon. You know, it's important that ain't nobody just throwing y'all something from the sizzler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got a good Amy Ruth's little cooking going on up in here that simmered this down, and then combine that over here with some Sylvia's greens and some black eyed peas over here that's been, you know what I'm saying? You got a full old plate. We got a full plate of conversations, of topics and storylines that we as a community can relate to. And then you take it back and then you talk about Southern culture and how that includes not only just Black Southern culture, but Latin Southern culture, Asian Southern culture, the economically challenged white Southern culture. You know what I'm saying? Gidget is up in a trailer park. You know.
Yes.
So it's talking about different kinds of stories. Everybody ain't always in the high castle with all the good stuff. But what I love, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna shut up. Even though you ain't got no money, you still gonna look good.
Oh yeah, you never look.
You
like
still gonna look
situation.
good. That's right. This one woman was asking in the comments one day. She was like, "Oh, I love the little what does she call it? The balloon bags. The balloon bags. Uncle Clifford's and the little ball purses that Uncle Clifford has." And she was like, "That looks like some." And she named some designers or whatever. And she was like, "Well, who is it?" And I said, "That's from the beauty supply." Do you understand what I'm saying? Just because I know, like, my people shop at the Ross and go make it look good. You know, Maya Tay's up in there and go add a little extra stitch to it. You know, you're gonna put that brooch on or something. That whole Gone with the Wind thing, that get up, that's all repurposed. This, take this, do that. Just like Cameo, the senior group Cameo, they was wearing cups on top of the jeans. Make it look fly. These are old pair of Levi's, but you throw your athletic cup on and spray painted red and say, "Ow, candy."
So, you know what's up. So look, I have a question. So you talked about the pank being the shake joint, the juke joint, the cotton mill. So it's something that was passed down from generation to generation. So in that last episode, was it episode 6?
Episode 6. Legacy.
The conversation, you know, pretty much centered around generational wealth or generational, you know, things that we can pass down through generations. How important do you feel conversations like that is in our community?
It's extremely important. I feel like that's part of the rut that we are in now. You know, people are just now starting to talk about it. I think it's something that's very interesting because I find even in the education system, you have all these math classes, right? But it's not required that you actually take accounting. It was only, for me in high school, it was only because my freshman and sophomore year, I was a computer programming major. And that was because I was good in math, I told you. And my dad was like, computers are the future. You can't do performing arts. Like, you can always sing. Can you sing? He said, sing something. And I was like, okay, Dad. And I thought he just wanted like a little show. So I sang a little, you know, maybe give a little Anita Baker or Lana Richie or something like that. And he was like, see, you can sing. Now, balance this. And he threw a bill at me. And I was like, well, I don't know. And he's like, that's why you got to be in computer programming.
Trying to make sure you do everything you needed to know.
Yeah. And so it's interesting that I feel like as in our education system, we are not teaching children the practical lessons with math, with money, and what that means. It should not necessarily be an option if you are in a specific major or curriculum or something like that. So I feel like everybody gets to a point, or most people I know get to a point of like, you're trying to figure it out once you hit 31, 32, and it's like, okay, I'm not in school no more. The party days are over. the Discover card that I got when I was in college, that has been maxed out and the interest has accrued over the last 7 years. Let me get that together. You kind of deal with the same way we were talking about our community dealing with identity. You don't really talk about it. You just do what you can do to get to the next thing. Just do what you can do to get to the next thing. You always borrowing to get to the next thing. And we oftentimes don't have the honest, transparent conversations to be able to understand more of what it takes to really balance a checkbook, what it means that, because listen, there was a time where, especially, boy, this is way before the show, but you get a check, everybody living check to check. And look, I don't have time to go to the bank, especially before everything became like mobile, so your mobile banking, it was like, just run to the check cashing real quick. Run, that's fine. They're going to take $12.
Up out
yeah.
your check.
Yeah. Yes. And and it was like, that's fine, because I need this right now. I got to put half of it on this for the gas bill. I got to do this for the groceries. Okay, y'all talking about food. All right. Well, we got some grits. We got some ramen. We got spaghetti. Everybody said today is spaghetti. You know what I mean? You making stuff stretch. So that the conversations around that generational wealth, it bleeds, to me, in my opinion, over into many areas, whether we are talking about our nutrition within the community, whether we have those food deserts. It goes into when we talk about our economics and understanding how finances work with bank institutions and loans and all that stuff, and then owning property. So for me, as Uncle Clifford, it's not just about keeping the bank open. This is a piece of land that literally sits in the family. That's why when grandmother says Clifford Sales, and when she gave you the full government, your first and last name, that is not an option. She said, that is not an option. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. You better get down on your knees and pray. And then she took it somewhere else.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier. I ain't want to say. Yeah,
why you didn't want to say that? Everybody has like an elder in their family that feels like
no filter.
No filter. They like, I'm grown. She say, I'm grown. I can do what I want to do. It's like great granddaddy, like, you're not supposed to have that beer. You sitting up here going to dialysis treatment, talking about some, hand me my Miller. Like, what? Look, I made it this far. It ain't going to kill me.
Right. I froze up for a minute. So look, so you guys tape the show in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Okay, so look, first of all, next time y'all start taping, let me know. I'm going to drive down there. Look, if I got to bring y'all some grub or something like that, I'm coming. I need to come be all up in the paint. So down south, the Southern culture influences the club life a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So how influential do you feel like the club life is in the world?
Well, listen, I don't think about my answer to that is not necessarily about the club life, but about Black culture specifically.
Yes.
Everybody want to be us.
Yes.
Everybody want to be Black without the burden.
Mm.
And they want to rock the fashions, they want to pump up the lips, they want to, use the lingo, but not have to deal with what it's like when the cops look at you a certain way. I was raised when I was learning to drive. You never wear your do-rag. The music can't be over a certain volume, and always roll down the windows and hands at 10 and 2 when you see the police. Those were things that my father taught me before I learned about making a U-turn or a 3-point turn. Like, it was those things. So like when the waves was really like seasick, up here, I mean, they don't do like they used to do. I'm holding on. But when the waves was real seasick, and you had your do-rag on, like when you get that fresh line, he was like, Nicco, you can't do that. And you're not get out the car. Get out the car. Like, it was, but that was him teaching me how to survive. You know what I'm saying? That, I think that, like, in my case, my family was more concerned about how do you live I need you to stay alive. It's great that you want to do all of these things, but God forbid somebody takes you out. God forbid somebody thinks that you somebody else. Everybody don't know that you are nice, that you are fun, that you are warm, Nicco. They look at you, you 6'2", you dark as night. They think that you about to come and do something. They're going to accuse you before they accuse your best friend over here that may be looking like Corbin. You know what I'm saying? So those were just real realities that I dealt with growing up. And I think that there are a lot of Black people that are dealing with that. I think that the characters in the show, like Mercedes, for example, she has a tough exterior, and we all know sisters that have that tough exterior. And people always jump to that stereotype when they think about our Black queens, you know, and they want to add a neck roll and all this stuff. And I'm like, we are not a caricature. One, that neck roll and those fingers and that snap or whatever is coming from other things.
Coming from most likely a place of hurt.
Yes, and exhaustion.
Yes.
And exhaustion. Like, this neck roll is not out of attitude, it's out of avoidance. Like, miss me with that, miss me with that. No, I don't want to be
I never thought about that. So
that's where that's coming from.
At, you know, one of these Black queens out here, you know, with that neck, I'm gonna understand. Okay.
It's about miss me. It's about miss me. You know, like, I don't have time for that, you know. So that's how I've always just kind of interpreted the world. And a lot of that could be my artistry and my artistic eye, but that's the way I see it nonetheless. So I see a thing the way it is, and that's how I move.
Okay. So Uncle Clifford is, let me see, I saw it as, was it non-binary?
There you go.
I think, you know, I'm trying to get familiar with, it's too many terms out here right now. When I was growing up, it was gay, straight, bisexual, the end, or, you know, open. But now there's like 50 different titles, and I'm trying to be, you know, understanding of all of them.
And I'm glad that you are doing that, because that's all that it's about. Listen, like I said, I've been gay all my life. I didn't know all of the terms all of the times in terms of non-binary. You know, when I was growing up
last year,
they didn't.
Yeah.
That lets you know how, what the progression of things are, right? So think that you're just on the wave of it, of things changing. And it's something that's specifically within our community, being able to take the time to even ask to how a person wants to be identified. That is what it's really all about. It's about having the care and concern for one another, especially within our own culture.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. Do you understand what that, and going from there, move on. It's a lot of women, it's a lot of people that don't like to be called bitch, you know, but in certain pockets of community, bitch is an affectionate term, you know. Yeah. You see this on the show. We use the N-word. The N-word is used. B-word is used. And it is all out of affection. It means so many different things depending on how you say it. Southern culture is not just what you say, but it is also how you say it.
Yeah.
So even in that context, it makes sense that Uncle Clifford knows or has acquired some Vietnamese language. Because the Vietnamese language, it affects the tone of how you say a word. That affects the meaning of it the same way. If I say bitch or bitch, it's different. It's different. So that I feel like we speak from an inclusive space, and we see the world in a more inclusive way. So bringing that to our stories is absolutely a part of our context, for sure.
So piggybacking off of that, how important, or how do you feel like we can bring more awareness to what's going on in the queer and trans people community? You know, the attacks of queer and
of our trans.
How do you feel like we can bring more awareness to that?
The first thing I think that can happen is people be honest. I think people be willing to have the conversations, and I think representation matters more than I knew that it did. And I'm experiencing it now with this venture. I was aware and knew it before, but I'm feeling it on the different end, because I get messages or comments from women that are mothers or grandmothers that are expressing, I'm understanding my child more through watching this show. Whether their child was exotic dancer, whether their child was non-binary, um, just understanding, because sometimes, especially in our community, we can be afraid of what we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm asking people, I'm like, so, like, when was the last time you been to the strip club? I ain't never been to no strip club before. Well, why you mad at your daughter for being a stripper if you ain't never been to a strip club? What, you don't even know what it is, but you have this whole idea. A lot of people didn't even know that there is an economic run in a strip club. You have to pay your bartenders. You have to pay your DJ. If you don't pay the DJ, you're not getting the good songs when you go up on the stage. You understand what I'm saying? So whether you are the dancer or whether you are the music artist that wants to get your music played, you got to go to the strip club because that's where people are. There is a hierarchy. You got to pay to get your outfit. You got to, you in there all night. Where are you going to get something to eat? What happens if you forget you need to, give a quick little shave, or, you got to.
Got your cigarettes at the house, yeah.
Absolutely. You got,
all of
come on.
In the strip club.
I know you got folks in your family smoking Newports, don't you? Because you said you done forgot your cigarettes at the, look, with it under your sleeve, under the sleeve, or in the sock.
Newport 100s in a box.
Yeah.
I won't tell you who, but yeah, I absolutely have.
You got a boobie in your family?
No.
You got a June bug?
No, we had a Butch.
Okay.
We got, who else? What are the other black nicknames out there?
I love my cousins. I got a June bug. I got a tiger. I got a bird. I got a queet. Oh, those my cousins. I love my cousins. So like,
and those are ride or die cousins, the one with those.
You talk about it. Talk about it.
Yes,
talk
if I
about
can walk up to you in the family and just call you by your regular name, chances are I can't trust you. But if you got a nickname, then I know.
Yeah.
If something pop off, then
that's right.
I'll call.
Yeah, those are my cousins that taught me how to fight. That was like, we fighting over the Nintendo or the Sega game or whatever. You know what I mean? And they like the brothers. They were brothers and they was fighting. And then I'm like, but I want to play. It's my game. And get out of here. They sunning me. And then before I know it, I'm like, I'm fighting. And I'm like, why are we fighting? And they're like, no, look, Nicco, you got to duck. You got to duck. You got to guard yourself. Come on, like. Bob Wayne, get in there, nigga. Let's go. Yeah. So.
See, you sound like you had a really good upbringing. So, before we go, give me 2 quick things that people may not know about Nicco. Keep it PG.
Why did you say? See,
y'all. I don't know. It was something in that lab. Looked like you started sweating a little bit. Yeah.
Don't be hating on my melanin. You see how you do? You see how you do? Y'all see how they do me? Y'all see how they do me? Right. Things that people may not know. I burn. Let's say I burn.
Okay.
You know what that means?
Yes, you love to cook.
There you go. See?
We love to eat. And you know what? I think the next time we need to interview you again, and it needs to be in the kitchen with Nicco.
Okay, all right. You want some weed wings? That's what that is. You want? Listen out! Listen out! The gentleman gonna have their weed wings coming up.
So you can cook, and what's the other thing?
I got a passport, and I love to travel internationally. So I love to travel internationally.
Well, not 2020, I'm assuming, but.
Oh no, not 2020.
Still love to travel nonetheless.
Yeah, well, I can go in my mind. I got a good imagination. So
not right now. That no. Nah, that don't help.
Okay.
We need to be on a beach somewhere in another country, eating some whatever they offer in whatever this country is, but
So you need to learn how to go in your backyard, sit on that porch, turn on some Shangri-La, some good old Quincy Jones, and keep it moving. Okay? There you go.
Try that this weekend. When it's not raining in Atlanta, I will try that.
You got to find some peace, especially in these times. You got to find peace in the midst of this storm, Yeah. Even last night, when I saw what was going down in in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. I was like, first of all, I was like, again, what the, like I started, my blood started to, it's just too much for me. I went and like my latest post is of these two brothers dancing, these two young brothers dancing. They're doing Memphis juking. It's a juke, a dance style that's down south. And from the show, I just love it. And I was just like, yo, these kids, they are finding ways to be resilient and to just express and to process all of these emotions. You know, these kids look like they're just having fun, but you know, I'm like, they're dancing in the park and someone could think that they're causing mischief and they're really not. But we have it already within ourselves to encourage ourselves, because that's what our ancestors have been doing from the beginning of time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
you know what, Nicco?
What?
It hurts my heart to say this right now.
What you got to say?
We have 40 seconds left.
Well, there's nothing I do in 40 seconds, so bye.
I know. No. You know what? I love this. Like, this has been one of the best conversations. So I'll just say, on behalf of myself, the Quintessential Gentleman, and everybody that loves us, we appreciate you. We'll continue to support you. And hopefully we do this in the kitchen with Nicco soon. We'll hit your people. I'll have my people hit your people, and we'll set that up.
There you go. There you go.
And I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, brother. See y'all later.
Yes.
You too.